Let you react appropriately when you hear it, as soon as you recognize it.
No, my great-grandmother always talked about Buffalo Bill and always talked about Annie Oakley, especially Annie Oakley. She loved Annie Oakley, and Annie Oakley had grown up just 50 miles away from where I grew up. She grew up in Darke County, Ohio, which is right on the border of Indiana where I grew up. And so the fact that Annie Oakley was from that same area that my great-grandmother was from, was just a few years older. Oh, that was pretty exciting. And so my great-grandmother, Minnie Collins, and she had attended in Marion, Indiana, which was about 20 miles away from where she lived. She always talked about going to the Wild West show there. So when I was doing research at the Buffalo Bill Historical Center, and I found an 1896 route book which told everybody the whole destinations of the Wild West show for the whole summer. I saw Marion, Indiana on that, and Bluffton, Indiana, where I grew up, and I thought, oh my gosh, I bet this is the time that my great-grandmother went to the show. And she would have been, it was 1896. She was a teenager, which was fit perfectly with what the story she always told. So she would have been 14 years old and attended that Wild West show and talked about it the whole rest of her life. She died when she was 93. So that's a lot of years, 80 years of talking about Buffalo Bill.
It's easy to understand how spirited military renditions of this number became widely disseminated through military bands and Wild West shows after the Civil War. Congress finally decided in 1931 to make it the national anthem. The surprise maybe is that it took so long. Well, a century and more ago, when Buffalo Bill's Wild West came to town, music filled the air, pretty literally. And in fact, there would be ordinarily a parade with music playing, as our bandmaster said, literally to drum up interest in the Wild West show. And in fact, music was used in other ways. Beginning in 1896, James A. Bailey of Barnum and Bailey became a silent partner in the show and introduced some things that were originally kind of alien to it, with sideshow and whatnot. But he also introduced a concert band, which played often after the show. But the music you're going to hear today is the Buffalo Bill Cowboy Band music. music of the main event. Buffalo Bill was born in Iowa Territory, but he earned his reputation on the plains, doing all those Western things, hunting buffalo, scouting for the Army, real deeds. He earned his nickname out there when he was so successful at supplying buffalo meat to the railroad workers of Kansas that they made up a jingle. Buffalo Bill, always aims and shoots to kill, never missed and never will. The company pays his Buffalo Bill. Well, after his scouting days, he became sort of a matinee idol on the stage, but it was really through the medium of the Wild West show, which carried a narrative of the winning of the West to millions of people worldwide, that he gained his true fame. He was, at the turn of the last century, the most recognizable American in the world. Now, the show entertained with cowboys and Indians, and cavalry, and stagecoach chases, and rough rider horsemen from around the world, the great Annie Oakley, who was just as good as they say she was, and, of course, with music from the Cowboy Band. And the music, as the music in any good show, was connected to the topic at hand, the action in the arena. And when Buffalo Bill, after the grand entry, rode into the arena, of course, with thunderous applause, the Cowboy Band would play a most appropriate piece, one with biblical implications, taken from Handel's oratorios, Judas Maccabeus and Joshua. The Cowboy Band is going to play fanfare for See the Conquering Hero Comes. And they're going to follow that up with Virtuoso 1886 March, which was played often in the arena, but also in a signal performance, an afternoon concert in London, which they shared with Lower Grounds Orchestral Band in 1887. I should point out here that the Cowboy Band was first a group of truly virtuoso musicians, and cowboys second. And it's true of this band too. I mean, they all look like cowboys, as you can see, but they're really musicians. In fact, I suspect the horse is foreign to some. This piece that follows See the Conquering Hero Comes was composed by Thomas Preston Brooke and was dedicated to the great 19th century bandmaster Patrick Gilmore, and is called Gilmore's Triumphal March.